Welcome back. So, here we are. It's a Friday. It's August 27th. And we're less than a month from the start of the preseason. And we got some news. Eichel has not been traded. He has, however, traded himself to a different agent. So, Pat Brisson will now be his agent. He is the same agent that Sidney Crosby, John Tavares, Nathan MacKinnon have, to name a few. There are others as well. So, with the impasse between the Sabres and his representation, it makes sense that he would change his agent. There's two ways to take this. Either Eichel wants the ice to thaw between himself and the Sabres organization, or he feels like in order to get the trade to take place, he had to change the person who was, talking on his behalf. Or maybe he just decided, I want Brisson as my agent, and it doesn't affect anything. Here's to hoping that it does change things, though, because we need to have a change. Whether it's the Sabres saying, okay, we'll let him have this surgery, or, Eichel relenting, or something has to change here, because we are getting down to the long and short of it. That it's getting to the point where if he, say, got the surgery now, it's dicey as to whether or not he could start the season on time. And if he's going to rehab this properly, again, it's about trying to get him healthy for the start of the season. So we'll see if this changes anything. I'm not entirely sold that it will, but we'll see. Jordie Benn has signed a 1-year, $900,000 contract with the Minnesota Wild. Again, I like Jordie Benn as a depth defenseman. He's not a guy that's top four at this stage in his career, but I'm glad he's hanging around the league. I like his effort. And so now he's with the Minnesota Wild. He is a journeyman, and I do respect journeyman players. I respect the guys that just keep plugging away at it, and another team calls them up and they go, fine. And they usually approach it with the right attitude of, not that they've been through so many organizations, but they're like, hey, there's somebody who wants me, I'm going there. So, good on Jordie, and best of luck to him with the Minnesota Wild. Paling has signed a 2-year extension with the Montreal Canadiens. It will pay him $750,000, so league minimum at the NHL level, and at the AHL level, $225,000 for this year. But next season, it becomes a one-way contract, and that means that you make the $750,000 even if you're in the AHL. It has nothing to do with waivers. Every year, I have this discussion where a player will be on waivers, and people say, "Well, wait, he has a 2-way contract. Doesn't that mean he doesn't have to go through waivers?" No. Waivers have absolutely nothing to do with what kind of a contract you're signed to. It's based on how many games you've played in the NHL or how long a career you have as to whether or not you qualify for waivers. So here's to hoping that Paling breaks through and gets onto the roster a little more regularly and shows that upside. And I know it sounds optimistic, and I know there's players they say that about, that it's not going to happen, but what's wrong with some optimism? So the Ottawa Senators, speaking of optimism, are also looking at a long-term deal with Tkachuk. Brady Tkachuk, of course, still out there as an RFA. Honestly, just look at that Svechnikov deal, and that would work, I would think, for both Ottawa and for the player. Got to be something similar to that. And what's funny? Watching Sportsnet today, and they're talking about the Svechnikov deal, and immediately they bring up Marner, they bring up Tavares, they bring up Matthews, and that those guys have a much higher cap hit. And I get it, but it is bizarre how it all comes back to that. So here's to hoping that Brady Tkachuk signs a long-term deal with the Sens. It sounds like it's close, so we'll probably have that to announce before the season starts. And Ottawa fans are going, we hope it's signed before the season starts. Well, sometimes these things take a little longer. Yesterday, I was all anxious. I was like, I'm going to watch this Canada-USA game. Maybe I'll take some notes. And then Canada just blew their doors off. Apparently the first win they've had at a World Championship against the U.S. since 2013. My only concern in the back of my mind is, so in the medal round, if they meet again, does Canada lose there? Because that's my concern. But yeah, they really, especially through the first two periods, it wasn't close. And it is part of the reason why I've been watching the women's hockey when it's on, but most of the games are just blowouts, which is not conducive, I would think, to great viewing numbers. I'll be interested to see what the numbers are like at the end of the tournament. But I think the fact that they've got this tournament going on in August because they had to cancel the one in April. I think it's for the best, and I think the IIHF should consider having these tournaments in August because there's no other hockey on, and I think it works. But we'll see what they do. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always, regarding any of these items on the board. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. 213,000, getting closer and closer to 214,000. I do need to start putting at the bottom of the news board how many subscribers I am away from the next 1,000. I used to do that years ago, and I found that it helped. I found that people were like, oh, right. And that was even when it publicly displayed exactly how many subscribers you had, which it doesn't anymore. I still don't understand why. YouTube explained why, but it didn't make any sense then. It still doesn't make sense now. They don't want to stress people. Okay, well, we can still see, the YouTuber can still see the exact number. So, why? Anyways, but there you go. Thank you guys so much for watching, as I said, and I will talk to you again soon.